Welcome to your Mamamoon podcast, with interviews and tips from real life for your pregnancy journey from belly to baby.
We're Tessa and Nina, and we are passionate about motherhood. Our goal is to give you tools towards a beautiful and empowering experience during labor and a smooth entry into life as a mom. Hello, welcome everybody. We are really happy to welcome Mirjam today to our Mamamoon podcast. Mirjam is a certified massage therapist with great passion for pregnancy, birth, postpartum time, and transitioning to motherhood. So welcome, Mirjam. Super happy to have you today with us. And before we start our deep dive, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your background?
Yeah, sure. Thanks for having me. I am Mirjam and I am Dutch. I'm married to my husband, Chris, and we have two daughters together, and they are 18 and 16 years old. I had a very difficult time right after the birth of my second daughter, because my father passed away 7 weeks after she was born. And so I didn't really have a lot of care for myself, postpartum time. And when I went back to work, I worked in a publishing agency, and I really didn't like it. And then I was in sort of a post-trauma because of my father's passing. And I had a lot of massages myself in that time. So some changed my whole life, because I started to do a training to become a shiatsu massage therapist, and then followed a lot of other massage trainings. And I quit my job, and in 2006 I started my own practice. And I've been always focusing on women, using fertility massage, pregnancy massage, and postpartum support. And that is what I still do today.
Amazing. There's so much knowledge and so much wisdom in you, and it's such a cool journey to go from your own experience to something you really love, right? Based on something you needed yourself, and then make that your own profession. Huh. Nice.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true.
So at Mamamoon, we always say we're covering the entire pregnancy journey from belly to baby. So we really want to help parents to be during pregnancy, during birth, during postpartum, and then also when they transition into parenthood, as a longer stretch, right? And that's also why we're so excited to have you on the podcast, because we feel so many connection points and so much connection with your approach and with what you do. Unfortunately, and great for everyone, I think you're doing so much that we need to focus a little bit, because otherwise we'll have a very, very long podcast today. So we'll do some other ones following up. But let's focus a little bit on the postpartum, because I think you already mentioned it. It can be a very intense period, depending on all the experiences that you have yourself. You yourself had a bad traumatic experience in that time. Do you have any idea why it actually is that when we prepare for birth, we're most of the time not really addressing the time afterwards, right? Most of the time we're sort of preparing. We're doing something for pregnancy, then we're thinking about birth, and that's it. And nobody really thinks about the time that comes afterwards. Why is that? And why are we not taking better care of ourselves in that time?
Yeah, well, in the earlier days, I think postpartum was also still important. And in many other cultures, the postpartum is really part of the whole process of pregnancy, birth, and postpartum. That's also why it's often called the fourth trimester. And I think the focus, especially here in Europe and the Netherlands, is that pregnancy is important, and like birth is like the end station where everything is directed into focusing on preparation for birth, and that birth is like, well, then it's done. But in my opinion, it's everything together. It's pregnancy, birth, postpartum, and parenting. And so I think it's very important to also prepare for postpartum. And in many cultures, especially in Ayurvedic culture, they say that if you take good care of yourself in the first 42 days after birth, that will reflect on your health for the next 42 years. So postpartum time is actually a time where the physical body can also experience a reset. So if you really could take care of yourself in the postpartum time, that can benefit your health in the long run. And this is all done by like warming food, easy digestible food, warming your body, getting massages, and also surround yourself with people who can support you. And it's a massive transformation as a woman, but also as the partner to go through to become a parent. And I think it is very important that we acknowledge that massive change, and that we honor it and we celebrate it. And we do that by nourishing, nurturing, feeding the mother, all these healing methods and properties. So she can, come out of this period as a stronger and stronger woman.
Oh my God.
And it's a shame that it disappeared over time, but I think it's coming back, and that is what I am really happy about.
Yeah, it makes me feel like, I should make another baby so that I can go through the postpartum period better than I did with the last two. But it's so true, huh? I mean, it's we prepare for the day, and then actually the whole work starts after, and then especially in the current situation when parents are not always close by, then we kind of we miss that village a bit. And from the physical point of view, because you mentioned already some tips, what are the areas in our body that we should take care of in short after birth in that period?
Well, if you give birth, the whole pelvis and vagina, everything opens to leave the baby through. Or in case of the C-section, the belly is opened in several layers to leave the baby through. So the placenta needs to come out, which leaves a wound in the uterus. So if you give birth vaginally or through C-section, it leaves you with a wound, and that wound needs to heal. So in both cases, we use special treatments to help you heal the whole uterus, vagina, and perineum area. And I think that is the most important part at that time to really help recover well. So we use, for example, we use vaginal steaming. And vaginal steaming is a tradition that's been done for thousands of years by women in all kind of traditions. And it is done to address a lot of gynecologist problems, but it's also a very big self-care tool. And especially in the postpartum time, it's done to help heal the perineum and the vulva, because you may be bruised, or it can be swollen, or maybe there's a little tear or a big tear, and it helps heal that whole area. And it also helps to heal the uterus by cleansing the uterus with the lochia that is expelled, and will be from a lot of blood to a little bit of blood to discharge for about 6 weeks. So if we can do this vaginal steaming for at least 6 weeks after birth, that can really be an enormous help for a woman to heal. Another thing that we really like to do is belly binding. And belly binding is it's like an art almost of wrapping a woman in a very long piece of cloth of 17 meters long. And this really helps to bring the uterus and all the organs back to their pre-pregnancy place and position and size as well. And it helps to close the abdominal muscles. And it's also very supportive, because lots of women feel empty after they have given birth, and their belly feels sort of wobbly. It goes from one side to the other side, and belly binding is sort of like a warm, tight hug around the belly, and it warms the internal organs, and it is a bit of like a protection. Some women can be influenced by all their tips and tricks from everybody around them, and telling them what to do and what not to do, and how to behave, and how to address your baby, and how to care for your baby, and you can get really confused then. So this belly bind also sort of protects you and keeps you like centered within yourself, so your decisions can be more centered and more from you, trusting your intuition. So
trusting your gut.
The belly, trusting your gut. Yeah, exactly. So the whole belly and perineum area, I think, is the most important area to focus on after birth.
Nice. And just one question. So about the belly binding, how long do you stay with it?
You can stay with it the first 14 days. You can stay with it 24 hours a day. Not every woman does that, because it's quite a long time during the day, and then also you would sleep with it. But to be really helpful, 24 hours a day is really nice. So you would put it on, and then you wear it. And then the next day you take it off, you take your shower, for instance, and then you put it back on. And you can do that for 2 weeks in a row, really that strict. And then afterwards, you start wearing it only at night. So that during the day, your abdominal muscles will also start working a little bit again. And you will regain that strength in your core.
It sounds so nice and cozy and supportive in a period when everything changes anyways, right? So it's the sort of so stabilizing as well in a way. If I've just given birth, when can I start these treatments, Mirjam? And do I need to plan them up front, or can I just call you right after birth and schedule them then, or how does that work?
Well, ideally, women contact me or my colleague, because we have a collective now. I didn't mention that in the beginning, but we have a collective. So I have my own practice, but I have another company where we have more practitioners working for postpartum massage and postpartum treatments. So ideally, women contact us before their due date, so we can also plan ahead. You don't really plan the exact date and time yet, but we can plan in our schedule free time to make sure that you will have your treatment. And sometimes women contact us after their due date, and that is okay. But it could be that we don't have enough space in our agendas anymore to fit you in, which is a shame. So we always try, and because we have more practitioners now, it is a little bit easier to fit everybody in. But we prefer if women contact us before their due date. And some do, like I have already women, most of them are like second or moms who have used me before, and they contacted me like when they were 10 weeks pregnant, because they knew that they have to plan in advance. So it's to plan in advance, especially. I think it's just very good to do that for your whole postpartum period, not only for my treatments, but also for your food and your support network.
Yeah, that's actually very true.
Oh yeah, and when you asked me when we start the sessions after birth, well, usually we start around day 5 or between day 5 and day 7 after birth with the first session. And if you have had a C-section, then we would start a little bit later, or we would adapt the treatment so that you can still have that benefit for healing. And then, for instance, belly binding, we have to wait a little bit longer before we can start that.
And for the treatment, because we've talked a little bit before about it, that you're visiting also moms at their house. How much time should they plan for it? Because of course they just had a little one, right? So somebody needs to take care of them as well.
Yeah. Well, if they book me, I always ask them that if I come to their house, there's at least someone else as well to take care of the baby. And because the treatment usually, the real physical treatment is like 1.5 hours, but there's so much more than only the massage or the treatment, because usually women really like to talk a little bit about their birth experience or what they experience now afterwards. So most of the time I am with a mother for 2 to 3 hours, and then we talk, and she tells me many things, and I just hold space for her to express what she wants to express. And in the meantime, if the baby is hungry, needs to be fed, and mother is breastfeeding, then of course we just arrange that the baby comes in, or sometimes the baby is also just staying in the same room and sleeping next to her while she has her treatment. But if the baby is with the partner, for instance, we make sure that the baby is always well taken care of. We will never ever have a baby crying for food because we are doing the treatment. Yeah.
Oh, great. It sounds like it's such a valuable addition to have during your postpartum, because you've got the kraamzorg in the Netherlands or the midwives in Germany that take care of you, but it's a completely different mindset and a completely different setup, right? That you get from them, and a different service and help and support that you get from them than what you can offer. Yeah. What
Yeah,
are
I think it's sorry. I think it's really a good addition to kraamzorg because I am also very happy we have kraamzorg, and they take care of the baby and the mother in a very practical way, and sometimes a very emotional way, of course, as well. But the things that I do are, yeah, the kraamzorg usually doesn't have time to give a massage or to do a belly binding or prepare a vaginal steam for the mother. So it's an addition to kraamzorg.
yeah. What is the optimal number of sessions that moms usually have with you, and with how long do you accompany them during postpartum? How long do you stay with them?
Well, the most optimal amount of sessions would of course be 7 sessions, because then we can see the mother 7 weeks in a row, which will exactly be that 42-day period. So, but of course, I can also understand it is not cheap. So if women can already book 3 sessions for themselves, it is wonderful. And yeah, I prefer to do like a weekly session, but if we have 3 sessions, then usually I come the first week after birth and the second week, because those are the most important weeks for healing. And then the third treatment will take place about 4, 5, 6 weeks later, more towards the end of her kraam period. So her postpartum 6 weeks time. Yeah, I think that's the best situation for
yeah. I see another idea, Nina, for a helpful like a baby shower present.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, because that's also true. Because the treatments are not cheap. I admit that they are not cheap, because we put so much effort in them, and we usually stay a lot longer than we planned. So we charge for that. But I don't know what I was going to say.
For the baby showers present.
Yeah, because if they book us in advance and they think this fee is quite high, and they have time before their due date, then it's also very good to ask for some money for contributing to the sessions. And that happens a lot, like grandparents, they pay a little bit, or friends or colleagues. And in that way, the mother gets her well-deserved nourishment, and you don't have to pay for everything yourself. That's also collecting your tribe, making sure that people are around you to support you.
Yeah. And we had this very strong moment in our last podcast where we talked about it, when we actually thought, like, people are giving so much unuseful stuff for baby showers, right? You get like the 100th body, and even if you have 2 babies, then you get the whole stuff all over again, and it just litters your house instead of being valuable to mom or to baby at all. And so we are actually starting to become very strong advocates of useful, nourishing baby shower gifts for mom that she can benefit from later on as well. And you sound like the perfect gift to give to a mom.
Yeah, well, I think this sort of treat is so much more valuable, not only for the mother but also for the family and the baby, because if the mother is well taken care of, then family benefits from that. So I'm really happy if partners or parents call me up and tell me, oh, I really want to do this for my wife or my girlfriend or my daughter.
Absolutely. And what can we expect during a session like that?
Yeah, well, let's take an example of one session where we do vaginal steaming. So then I prepare everything at home for the vaginal steam, and I bring my steam chair and a big pot of tea with herbal infusion that has special herbs in it to help heal womb space and her perineum. So then when I come in, I set up the space for her to sit on the steam chair and to really invite the warming steam into her pelvis, and she sits there while I sometimes I'm there and I play some music, or we talk a little bit about the birth, and she can sit there for like 10 to 15 minutes, just in peace and quiet and warmth, blankets all around her. And when she's ready, she can come to her bed, and then I do a gentle belly massage, and this helps the organs to find their place back in her her whole abdominal area. And I do this with castor oil, which is also very healing and goes really deep into the system. And I use moxa. Moxa is like Chinese herb mugwort that is pressed into a stick like a cigar, and you light it, and the point of it is going to glow really hot, and then you leave like a little space from the skin, like 2-3 centimeters, and you warm up lower belly from the pubic bone to the navel, and also the lower sacral area. And this is really, I am not allowed to say that it feels great, because it's also medicinal. Does feel great. It's really warming and it's really comforting, but it also helps the uterus to shrink back to its pre-pregnancy size, and it warms the whole area, and the warmth is going really deep, so it stays with you for quite some time. And then I put like a warm water bottle or a warm water sack. It's not the bottle that we use for the baby, but more like rubber bag. And I place that on her lower belly. And then I will either or both massage her feet and lower legs, or I will do a shoulder, head, and neck massage, because that really also helps for breastfeeding if this whole area is relaxed. And after that, I leave her in her blankets. I cover her eyes, and she can be really with herself for 10 to 15 minutes. And when she's rested, I will serve her a warm medicinal tea to drink. And then after, when she has drank that, we will do the belly binding. So she will also be wrapped, the whole abdominal area will be wrapped, and that warmth can stay with her for the rest of the day. And it's really beautiful to do it. So, yeah, I don't know. It's really sacred almost to be in that space where the mother is completely relaxed and at ease, and sometimes finally has a moment for herself and is taken care of, and her adrenaline can drop, and you feel that oxytocin back in the room. So that's really beautiful.
You're glowing. It's amazing to see you talk about it. And I feel like I want a wellness treatment like that.
Yeah, it's really beautiful to do.
And so you already said that you can also do a lot of treatments after C-section, right? Because when we talk about recovery, physical recovery, then obviously having a C-section also adds an extra big wound to the body. Which areas can you, or how do you address like women in postpartum after a C-section?
I think women who had a C-section need even more rest and recuperation to heal from the experience of birth. And if I come to them to give a treatment, usually I avoid a little bit the whole C-section area in the beginning, but we can still do quite a lot of things to help her, like the head massage, the foot massage. Sometimes the arms really need to be treated, or the legs can be treated. And I think it's also important that I express to them even before I come over, that it is really essential for her to have her the whole incision healed really well. And like I give tips like that the wound it's important to have it a lot of fresh air on the wound. So maybe just pull down the undies a little bit more, so leave the wound open so that there's fresh air coming. And then also that she needs to move, and she needs to sometimes she needs to be up, but she can also move in her bed, like because the lymphatic system needs to be drained, and that will help her healing process. So even when she's in her bed, she can do arm movements, head movements, have her legs shaken a little bit, so all that lymphatic fluid is moving through her body. Also, she needs to give herself the time to have the milk flow coming in, because sometimes after a C-section, it's more difficult for the milk to come in because of the surgery. But if she has a good support system and she just keeps on inviting her baby to drink, then milk flow will also come in much easier. And for that, shoulder and also breast massage is really, really beneficial. So I do quite a lot of breast massage as well when women have had a C-section to have the whole lymphatic system in the breasts also moving. And that is, that's really good. Sleeping when the baby sleeps is for all mothers, whether you have had a C-section or a vaginal birth. Sleeping when your baby sleeps, and have the people who want to support you, have them drop off meals, or have them vacuum your home, or watch your baby for like half an hour so you can take your shower. Things like that. It's more difficult these days because because there's not that many people allowed in your home at the moment. So it is more difficult, but it is still to be arranged, even if people can just drop off a meal at the front door and then leave again, so you are well nourished, and that is so important.
And we talk a lot about the physical, but actually you already mentioned so many of like mental support as well. How does that go from your experience?
the transformation from not having a baby to becoming a mother, or becoming the mother of a next child, is such an immense shift in her whole being. And so she needs time to reflect on that and to talk about it, and to process everything that has happened. And that can come with a lot of tears or a lot of joy, but she needs to have space to talk about it. So yeah, a lot of what I do is listen and hold space for her, and just be there. Sometimes I only have to be there just to look in her eyes, or tell her that she's doing a great job, even though she's tired, even though she's sweating and she smells bad, and it doesn't matter. I'm not there to judge. I'm not there to give advice or tell her what to do. I'm just there to hold space for her and tell her she's an incredible, amazing mother, and she's doing a beautiful job. And she needs to be honored, because and celebrated and welcomed into motherhood. So yeah, there's a whole emotional side to this work, and to be with a mother, and that's also beautiful.
Makes it super special. Huh?
Yeah, there is another ending sentence. There's another ending sentence. We constantly come across these very inspiring things that our podcast guests say, and then it's so difficult to. Well, that's when I just want to say, okay, everything is said. This is the most beautiful end sentence that we can wish for the podcast, and you just said another one of those. But we've got a bit more to go, and that is our Mamamoon golden tip. So in every podcast, at the end of it, we ask our guests what their one golden tip would be that they would give to moms to be, or parents to be, the best advice that they can give to somebody. What would be yours, Mirjam?
Well, I think that when women plan for their pregnancy, when they plan for their birth, that they should incorporate the whole postpartum plan, the whole fourth trimester, the first 42 days after she has given birth. And they can do that by talking to someone who knows about it, but they can also read a lot. And we have a couple of really, really good books on the postpartum time. And I really urge women to read up about what to expect physically, emotionally, spiritually. Everything is so connected. So I really urge them to read up and inform themselves about this whole transformation they're going through. So I have two, like, my Bibles that I would really like to share with everybody who is listening and watching, and that is the book the First 40 Days by Heng Wu, and she is a Chinese American writer, and she talks about the first 42 days. She has recipes in her books. She has self-care tips, and it's also a beautiful book. It is also translated in Dutch. So both English-speaking and Dutch mothers can read this book in both languages. And then the other book that I really, really like is the Fourth Trimester from Kimberly and Johnson. And this is also, it has recipes in it as well. And it is also very much talking about the mental change after giving birth. And both are excellent books to have to prepare yourself, so that she's prepared for her recovery. And the other thing she can do is to prepare her food, for instance, in advance, or pick out recipes that are really, really great and give that to her support tribe, and they can make it for her and leave it at the front door. And if they want to make themselves, that they prepare it and put it in the freezer, for instance, so they can really focus on what is the most important after giving birth, and that is resting, recuperating, and bonding with the baby. Because you have become a mother, and you will have a long life attachment connection with your baby. So it's so important that you are well taken care of, that you are well rested, and have the stamina to take care of this beautiful little human being for the rest of life. Because you will be a mother for the rest of your life, even if your kids are 40, I think. I know, because my mom is still mothering me. So yeah, we will never ever lose that. We will always be a mother. Yeah. So yes, what I do actually is mothering the mother, but not smothering the mother.
I love that. Very good. Oh, brilliant. We will definitely make sure to put those two books in the show notes of the podcast, so that everybody can get their copy of it, and make sure that going forward, all the Mamamoon moms prepare for postpartum with us as well, and not just for that peak moment during birth, right? Perfect.
Yeah.
You gave me so many ideas, Mirjam. I actually want to have those treatments now.
Well, we also do like rebozo closing ceremony, which is a beautiful thing that usually you do like 6-7 weeks after birth. But I treat many women and they have given birth like 2 or 3 or 4 years ago, and they still need or want their closing ceremony, because it's like a phase that you close so you can enter a new stage in your life. And the closing ceremony is, that's yet another beautiful treatment, but look it up.
I will.
Look it up.
And we can maybe also give a sneak peek that there will be more about rebozo techniques, because that's something we really love to hear about. So we will see you back in this podcast.
Oh, that would be nice. Yes.
All right. Well, thanks so much, Mirjam, for being with us today. It was an amazing podcast. You gave us so many insights and so many ideas and so much inspiration, that we were really, really happy to have you on board today. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
The last thing, super important, of course, is how can people reach you when, now that they've got all these, or they know about all these options, how can they best reach you?
Yeah. Well, I have 2 websites. The first one is, my personal website is gentlebeginnings.nl. And then we have the website for the collective, where we have especially or only postpartum sessions. And that one is called Postpartum Massage Nederland.nl. And then, of course, I'm on Instagram and I'm on Facebook, and that is all at Gentle Beginnings Amsterdam, or at Postpartum Massage Nederland. And I really like to be on Instagram and talk about what I do and inspire women and collect more followers, which is always nice.
Absolutely cool. So we'll again make sure that we put all the links down in the show notes so everybody can follow you, give you a like, and get even more information about all the beautiful things you do. From our side, as usual, thanks again for listening. Like, share, comment, share with other moms out there who really need to hear this information and need to hear what is out there for them to take care of themselves. And we'd love to see you back in the next episode of our Mamamoon podcast. Thanks so much, and hear you soon.
Thank you so much. Thanks so much for listening to our Mamamoon podcast. We would love to see you again, so make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any new episodes.
Also, for more information and to stay up to date, check our website mamamoon.me and our Instagram and Facebook.